Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get ready for our 8th race of the season here for the NNSCRA Pedrigree Xfinity Series. We are here today at the 1.5 mile D-shaped Charlotte Motor Speedway, and there must be something in the water over there at JD Motorsports. Kyle Thomas already has 2 victories, Pig Stadium and 2 weeks ago at Riverside. Then last week we saw the second JD Motorsports car, T Dunham, dominate and take the victory at ISM. Well, here 1 week later, looking for 3 wins in a row is JD Motorsports. It's their 3rd entry. Z Winkle will line up on the pole position for this one. So this would be very interesting if all 3 of the JD Motorsports cars could make their way into the playoffs, which is only going to hold, as we mentioned at the beginning of the season, 10 drivers. 8 drivers via victories and 2 drivers via points, unless we have less than 8 drivers have a victory and be in the top 20 in points. Then obviously those remaining spots will be filled in by the next drivers that are up there in the point standings without a victory. But Winkle comes into this race having a really good season, 4th in the overall points. He's got an average finishing position of 15th. He's only 38 points out of the points lead, so it is possible that he could maybe get up there. Even if he doesn't win today, he could get enough points that he could be up there and solidify himself in one of those spots as far as getting into the playoffs on points. Right now, he's in that 2nd playoff position behind Diego Yepez. Alongside of him is N Ormond. Ormond comes into this race currently situated 29th in points. Last week really killed him. Got caught up in an early wreck at ISM, never was able to bounce back, dropped 12 spots in the standings from 17th to 29th, so really looking to bounce back here today. Lining up in the 2nd row, I believe that's Charles Jackson's number 44. Jackson comes into this one 17th in the stand, so he's still got a mathematical shot to get himself up there into one of the points slots into the playoffs, or he's inside the top 20 in standing, so a victory would probably put him also in contention for a playoff spot. And alongside of him, and outside of row 2, is Skylar Perry. Now, Perry ended up finishing fairly well last week at ISM, went into ISM in one of the playoff spots via points, now gets knocked out by Z Winkle. The 2 of them are only separated by 3 points in the standings, so those 2 are going to have an ongoing battle for that final playoff position via points during the course of this race. Another driver you should keep an eye on, too, that's also going to be very much in the forefront of that battle. Actually, 3 drivers, J Shelly, Jonathan Zoerlein, and Kyle Langeland. Right now, Winkle, Perry, Shelly, Zoerlein, and Langeland are all separated by only 8 points coming into this one, so it's going to be a pretty big dogfight between those drivers, and if any one of them go to victory lane, then obviously they would probably leapfrog everybody else and put themselves into one of the playoff spots, one of the 8 playoff spots via victories. Now, so far we've had 7 races, we've had 6 different winners. However, right now, only 5 of them are inside the top 20 in the points. Kyle Thomas is your points leader, Ashland Boyd in 2nd, Anthony McCrury currently in 6th, Ryan Madden in 10th, T Dunham with his victory jumped up to 14th. Phil Parker finally, at this point, finds himself in an issue. He is 25th in points. He's got to work his way back into the top 20 for his Memphis win to count towards a playoff position. All right, enough talk. Let's get racing. Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports at Charlotte.
Drivers, start your engines!
Command is given. Getting ready to get these cars rolling. That 22 of Phil Parker that we talked about, I want to see when they roll by here, where he's going to be rolling off from. Doesn't look like he's got really good starting track position. There he is, mid-pack. Going to start behind, looks like that's Jonathan Zoerlein's 00, just ahead of that light blue number 12 of Anthony McCrury, our winner from Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway. So it'll be 51 laps of racing here today at Charlotte. Less number of laps than we had in the Coke 600 in the Duracell Cup Series earlier on this season. Or earlier on this year, I should say. Saw Benjamin Miles go to victory lane in that race. Last lap pass on Cody Lamas. Will we see a last lap pass here today? It's not 50 laps, it's 51. A very odd total, but maybe that final odd lap will be the deciding factor into who's going to win this thing. And if we do manage to go green all the way, my assumption is we will have to see these drivers hit pit road at least once before the conclusion of this race. So will Charlotte be a fuel strategy race, or will it be a wreck fest? We're going to just have to wait and see. Chevrolet Camaro, front row. Toyota Camrys in the second row. Then you got a Chevy and a Toyota in 5th and 6th. Corey Williams 51, K Shearer's 40. As into the restart zone they head. And here we go. Let's roll it, Charlotte. Had to stretch it out there. Thanks, Flagman. Already 3 wide. Corey Williams peeks his nose out for 3rd. Ooh, almost got down there too. Left side's on the apron, slid up into Charles Jackson as they'll head down the back straightaway. Z Winkle moves to the top side. That leaves the door open if Corey Williams can get a run. Winkle tries to move down to block. Who's going to lead the first lap of the race? Williams into the left rear quarter panel as they come off the corner. N Ormond into the wall, into K Shearer. They save it. Drag race to the line. Ticker says it was Williams by a splitter. That was a great save back there between N Ormond and K Shearer as Ormond got the wall. Came down into K Shearer and they nearly wrecked, but somehow they didn't. Sean Gallighan now 3 wide. Poor Charles Jackson stuck in the middle. Z Winkle, the pole sitter, way up on the top side, nowhere to go. As Williams made it 3 wide, then Gallighan made it 3 wide. Here comes J Shelly down on the bottom as well in the 16. Boy, he has really come alive the last couple of weeks. Looked like he was going to win that race at Riverside 2 weeks ago. Had to come to pit road on the final lap. Last week was one of the strongest cars at ISM. Worked his way into the top 10, up into the top 5. And he has been gaining strides in the point standings ever since. And now running inside the top 10 here, side by side for 4th place with R Xavier. We could have a battle for the lead on our hands here. Corey Williams and Sean Gallighan, a couple of drivers that will see some time in the Duracell Cup Series this season. Driving the 25 for Backmarker Motorsports. They want to head into that ride as a Pedrigree Xfinity Series winner, as N Ormond back there was in the wall off turn 2, so his One Main Financial Camaro obviously not handling very well, especially up on the top side. 3 wide back here. Don't like the look of this. Shelly, almost brushed the wall. Now they'll settle it out to double wide as Shelly will let K Shearer in on the top side. Top 4, single file. Williams, Gallighan, Jackson, and Xavier. And as soon as I say that, Gallighan peeks down low. He's going to go for the race lead. 3 wide further back, Sky Commons down low. K Shearer in the middle, Z Winkle up top side. As Gallighan got to try and get the run, got a little loose there in the center of the corner. We'll see if he can get back to the throttle sooner than Corey Williams off this turn, as Winkle, I think, just got the wall off turn 4. No, Williams holds court with the lead, and now they're going to be 3 wide into turn 1. No, R Xavier backs out of it. And while that was smart on his part, it's going to kill him as far as momentum. You see how quickly Sky Commons was able to get a run on the high side around him. Meanwhile, further up front, again, going to be side by side for the lead. A lot of veterans up here of the channel. Corey Williams, Sean Gallighan, and Charles Jackson. Looks like Gallighan may edge ahead here at the line this time, get himself the bonus point for a lap led. And he will. We got a wreck in the back. Caution will probably be out. It is. I couldn't see who it was, but I saw someone spun around there towards the rear of the field. And the leaders had crossed the start-finish line already, so we are racing back to the caution. Corey Williams going to try and get there, and they can't quite get to the left rear quarter panel, so Sean Galligan's going to lead them to the yellow flag. There you see the smoke lingering. Oh, we got another wreck. That's Anthony McCrury, Diego Yepez, Skylar Perry, and Jonathan Zoerlein coming to the caution. So we had a wreck, and we had a follow-up wreck. At least that time I was able to see drivers that were involved back there. The first wreck that brought out the caution, I did not see who it was that spun. I just saw a smoke cloud back there. This is an early caution. It came out on lap 7. They took it at lap 8. I don't know what the fuel window is for these drivers, so I don't know. Do you take the opportunity under caution to come to pit road? Or do you stay out knowing you're probably going to have to pit again anyway? And there's your answer. Pit road was open. Nobody came to pit lane. So we've got 2 wrecks to look at coming off turn number 4. Amazingly enough, it took them this long to wreck. They were racing pretty hard there, 3 wide all the way through the field, and sometimes that's a recipe for disaster. So credit to them for keeping it as clean as they did for as long as they did. Let's go back and take a look at a replay. First at what brought out the caution, and then what happened coming to the caution. Car that spun that brought the yellow flag out was the 48 of P Zych. There you see him come off turn 4. Oh, and it was a couple of teammates there. Kyle Keith got the wall, came down, David Garcia hooks him in the left rear quarter panel and sends him into the 48 of P Zych, who had absolutely nothing to do with the incident off turn 4. Quentin Moore and Chase Marks dive down to the inside and avoid, and it was basically 2 cars that were involved in this one, Kyle Keith and P Zych, to bring out the caution flag. But then we had an even bigger wreck coming to the yellow flag in just about the exact same area. Now, the first car I saw around was the 90 of J Yepez, who comes into this race 3rd overall in the standings and in the number 1 spot as far as the drivers that would make it in on points. Let's see what happened off the corner. D Voyles that time got into the wall, and there was just no room. Skylar Perry gets into him, clips Diego Yepez. Is that Phil Parker in the grass? Yes, it is. I've already documented about him today. There's Anthony McCrury, Eli Bright, and Jonathan Zoerlein all getting caught up in it as well. Not seeing really significant hits right there. Oh, wait a minute. We got a second group coming in, though. This could be problems. Oh, they're all going low. Anthony Lopez runs into the back of Phil Parker, who then right straight into the back of his teammate Anthony McCrury. Ashland Boyd, points leader, comes flying in. He runs into the back of Langeland, who gets into the back of Miller. Now you got more drivers coming in here. That's J Figadarello. Here comes Nathan Stapleton. Here comes, oh no, that's not Nathan Stapleton. That's Jacob Thibodeaux, sorry. Ryan Madden there in the 11 as well. Are they going to slow up in time? I think they barely do. Joshua Ciculli's up into the wall, trying to scrub off speed as he approaches the back of the 11. Oh, he runs into Ryan Madden pretty well. It's S Ozkan, last week's runner-up finisher. Ran into the back of Ciculli, and then further back there, P Zych runs into the back of Kyle Keith, and Keith gets into the back of David Garcia. So we had a lot of stack up there. But the one driver I would be really concerned about is that 22 car there of Phil Parker. We already talked about 25th in points coming to this one. That will not get him into the playoffs despite his victory at Memphis. And if he does not continue on and salvage something here to get up into the top 20 in points, he could find that win at Memphis be null and void when we get to the regular season finale. If he's not inside the top 20 in points, doesn't matter if he's got 1 win, doesn't matter if he's got 10 wins this entire season. They do not count towards a spot in the postseason. Well, incredible as it may sound, with the wreck that we saw there coming to the caution flag and all the hits we saw taken, I believe everybody is still running. Yes, they are. And they are all still on the lead lap. Phil Parker, the last of those in 40th. If you look at towards the back of the pack, it looks like a whole bunch of wounded race cars. No Hood on the 22. 48 took a hard hit with the hood, so I'm pretty certain he's off the pace. David Garcia, D Yepez, all these drivers we know got some damage in some way, shape, or form. You can see the rear end pushed in on the 12. Hoodless is the points leader, Ashland Boyd, so that is going to lose Ashland Boyd probably some points against Kyle Thomas. Boyd was trying to run down Thomas for the points lead. 17 points separated the top 2 coming to this one. Sean Gallighan will get us back underway. Corey Williams will line up 2nd. Sky Commons in 3rd. Charles Jackson 4th. Kev Shearer will be 5th. Then it's Arthur Xavier, Justin Dearborn, pole sitter Z Winkle, James McCloud, and Nathan Stapleton. McCloud's another driver. Last couple of weeks his finishes have improved, although he started out the season so badly, he's only improved up to 32nd in points. So, these drivers here will probably have to pit before we get back to the checkered flag. They decided not to pit here under this caution, which means to me they are not yet within their fuel window to be able to make it the rest of the way as the green flag is back in the air. Charles Jackson stepped out of line, thinks better of it, tucks back in line in front of Kev Shearer. See how anxious these drivers are going to be up here at the front to get racy again. And there's your answer. Sky Commons looks to the inside of Corey Williams. Williams throws the block, goes in turn to the inside of Sean Gallighan, and we're going to be 3 wide through turns 3 and 4. Gallighan brushes the wall a little bit. Keeps it together, though, at least up here at the front of the field, as they are double wide back through the field. It was only 3 wide up at the front. Sky Commons, look at him drift from the low side to the top side, trying to get a better run through 1 and 2, get good straightaway speed, and that actually really worked for him. Corey Williams said, I like the look of that, followed in his tire tracks, and now he gets the slingshot move into turn 3. You see right there how the rear end steps out on the car on the bottom. Loses them some momentum, especially here on the straightaway. Corey just trying to stick to that left rear quarter panel so he can try and make a move here into turn 1, and he is there. Almost 3 wide further back as A Xavier took a peek. That's the second time we've seen him in this race look to the inside 3 wide going into 1 and back out of it before they get there. Wow, that 51 is loose. But he's keeping his foot in the throttle, and he's keeping at least somewhat alongside Sky Commons, who again gets the better run on the top side on the crooked D-shaped front straightaway. 3 wide further back, that's the 98 of J Dearborn, our Road America runner-up finisher. He's going to try and make it 3 wide with Charles Jackson and J McCloud, as Corey Williams got a much better run down the back straightaway there. Tries to pull ahead of Commons, got loose again. Commons will try and battle back on the top side. Jackson's into the wall. Nicholas Romero sent into the grass. Can he save it? Careful. Whoa, what a save. Right up in front of N Ormond, but somehow they save it, and as soon as I save that, Skylar parries into him, and that's going to bring out a caution. It's not going to bring out a caution. The 20's sitting in the middle of the track. How are they not throwing a yellow? We got to go back to the front here. I don't know how that didn't bring out a caution. Romero's still sitting there. How are they not throwing a yellow? Oh my goodness. Please teleport. Please teleport. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my goodness. He just teleported. Oh my goodness. They were going to hit him. That was close. Holy cow. Why, number 1, did that not bring out a caution? And number 2, why did the 20 not teleport sooner than that? We could have had a lot of our leaders involved in a wreck that really shouldn't have happened. That was a close call. Oh, give me a second to restart my ticker here. Good grief. Sky Commons out in front. Battle is on for second between Sean Gallighan and K Shearer. You got Gallighan, Shearer, and Corey Williams all up here. These are drivers that are going to be in the 25 car in the Duracell Cup Series, getting themselves a little bit of experience around each other. You got to bet there's probably a little friendly wager between themselves, as well as Kyle Keith and J Shelly, who are all going to be taking turns in that Chevrolet, of who's going to get the best finish during the playoffs. Gallighan and Williams side by side again. Last time it was for the lead. This time it's for third as K Shearer begins to reel in that Liberty University Chevrolet. Sky Commons coming into this one in the 15th position in points, so a win could put him into playoff contention. K Shearer, on the other hand, he's 36th in points, so he really wants a victory. Still mathematically has a shot to get up into the top 20 in the point standings, including this race. There's 3 races remaining here in the regular season, and if you are within 120 points of 20th in the stands, which right now is being held by Emmanuel Hartnett, you still have a mathematical shot of making it into the playoffs. And at this point in time, I believe everybody is in that range. I believe from 20th back to 40th is something like 60 points. So easily an amount that can be made up in 3 races. Phil Parker off the pace there in the 22. Right now in the 39th position. The only car that he has passed so far, Nicholas Romero in the 20 because of the wreck that we just saw there and him having to teleport. Skylar Perry soldiering on in the 38th position. We saw that he was involved in that wreck with Nicholas Romero. I would also be a little bit concerned. There was another driver I thought I saw get involved in that, along with the 20 and the 28. But I'm not 100% certain who it was, as Romero is going to come back out on track. I thought there was someone back here. Maybe not. Maybe it's just like a brush. Thought N Ormond got a little piece of him, but Ormond is still running. He's right now in the 19th position. Let's jump back up to the front, because they just caught Phil Parker in the 22. He's now holding up J Dearborn on the top side. Dearborn going to make his way down low, and now Charles Jackson's stuck on the outside line. And he might be stuck there for a while because there's a freight train on the bottom. There's the points leader, Kyle Thomas, working his way up into the top 10 now. See where he crosses the line. Last time by was 11th. And now he's up to 10th. Ashlyn Boyd's got no hood off the pace. So that is allowing Kyle Thomas to continue to pick up points as he's trying to win the regular season championship, if you will. Sky Commons might want to look out his windshield and not out the rearview mirror because he's got company. K Shearer has now got Sean Gallighan with him. A Xavier, J McCloud's catching up there as well. Also Justin Dearborn in the 98. We are going to be halfway as they hit the back straightaway right there. We are now halfway through this race. Remember, we still have the possibility these drivers cannot make it on fuel. They did not come to pit road under our only caution, which came out early on lap 7. Probably should have had another caution, but we didn't. But regardless, the question is, when do these drivers come to pit road? Since they've made it this far, that means that they will be able to make it on one tank of fuel if they do need to make that green flag pit stop. Just outside the top 10. Nice run for N Stapleton in the 42. Stapleton coming into this one in the 28th position in points, as Skylar Perry finally with that damage has to bring it to pit road. Seems like I remember Stapleton having a good run last week. Yeah, finished 13th at ISM. He was up inside the top 10 at one point, but then he kind of faded back near the end. Remember we saw D Voyles be the one that got the wall on the follow-up wreck after the caution was flying. Well, apparently that has not affected him at all. He's still running in that 12th spot. Charles Jackson taking a peek out of line. Another driver that's had some good momentum the last couple of weeks, Dylan Poteet. Poteet comes into this one 21st in the standings. Had a great run last week at ISM. And just ahead of him, it's Eli Bright in the 88. Eli 27th in the points coming into this one. He had a good showing, if I remember correctly, 2 weeks ago at Riverside. Or was he one of those drivers? Actually, no. He was going to have a good run, and he was, like J Shelly, 1 lap short on fuel. There's Skylar Perry now merging back onto the track as it's like the top 7, top 8 are all single file here. I think right now they might just be riding. They could be doing one of two things. Either they are just racing conservatively right now, making sure they're going to make it to that pit stop, or someone here could be saving fuel. Because remember, even though they were probably projected not going to be able to make it to 51 laps of fuel, we did have that caution period. And so they could have maybe saved 1-2 laps of fuel under pacing, and someone might risk it and go for it. Remember what we said back at Memphis? We were like, oh, everybody's going to have to come to pit road. And 2 drivers, Phil Parker, who ended up going on to win, and Anthony Lopez, who went on to finish 2nd, didn't pit at all. And they were able to make it. Everybody else had to hit pit road. So we could have one of those scenarios here today. And we're about to hit 20 laps to go. This race has really flown by. Sky Commons continuing to lead. Trying to get Junior Motorsports their 2nd win of the season. Or no, I'm sorry, it'd be their 1st. I don't know why I was just thinking in my head that David Garcia was a winner this season. Probably I was thinking of him being in that photo finish back at Dragonette, but he was not the winner of that. So this would actually be Junior Motorsports' 1st win of the season. Top 4 are about half a second away from each other. Then you got J McCloud. I think we got pit stops. We do. I saw McCloud run a higher entry into turns 3 and 4, which usually means they're giving room to a driver indicating they're coming to pit road, and that driver is K Shearer. Jimmy Dawson's in, along with D Figadarello, N Ormond, Chase Marks, K Langeland, Diego Yepez, Kyle Keith, and Anthony McCrury, all on pit road. So here you go. These are the green flag pit stops. And if these drivers are pitting now, yeah, nobody was saving fuel. There's no way somebody's going to be able to make it 20-plus laps. Corey Williams going to stay out, so he'll get a lap led. I think he's already got one, though. Justin Dearborn stayed out as well. Just about everybody is coming to pit road here with this group. Only got a few drivers that decide to stay out. Well, we got quite a number here. Thibodeaux, Logan, Moore, they stayed out, along with D Voyles, Corey Williams, and Justin Dearborn. Williams is coming in this lap. Dearborn's going to follow. Voyles is in as well. And here come Logan, Thibodeaux, and Moore. Skylar Perry and Nicholas Romero, you saw there, are off the sequence. Since Romero had to make an unscheduled stop after he teleported, Skylar Perry made an unscheduled stop to repair damage. Alright, so who cycles out to the race lead? I don't think it will be Corey Williams because he was running around the 6th position when the pit stops began. So let's follow this 40 of K Shearer. Just went around S Gallighan. He was one of the first to pit, so we'll see if the fresher tires help him. And there's Sky Commons, who was the race leader when the pit stops began. There you see K Shearer on fresher tires, laying down better lap times. Right here, I believe, is a pass for the race lead. That point, it was for 7th. They just got around Daniel Voyles. There's Dearborn. There's Williams going to try and get out ahead of him. Not going to quite be able to do it. It's like he'll cycle around to 3rd, maybe 4th. If Gallighan and Xavier get up to him, and I believe this now cycles it around to the race lead with the 40 car. So Kev, pulling off strategy. He was the only one to come to pit road, really, of the leaders, all by himself. And then everybody else hit pit road, so K Shearer was the Pied Piper and called everyone to pit road. And you saw what the fresher tires allowed him to do. His outlap was obviously much better than Sky Commons. The momentum he had allowed him to get around the number 9, and K Shearer is now your race leader. Now Sky Commons, who was enjoying the clean air, now finds himself in the draft in the wake of the 40, and that might affect the handling of his race car. So we know now that these drivers are going to be good to go the rest of the way on fuel. We'll be at 14 laps to go when they hit the line this next time by. K Shearer now out in front. Sky Commons behind him in 2nd. Corey Williams slots into 3rd. 4th will be Arthur Xavier. 5th, S Gallighan. Justin Dearborn's in 6th. 7th is James McCloud. 8th place will be Jimmy Dawson. Remember, he was another driver that pitted with K Shearer. So pitting early definitely helps some of these guys. 9th place is N Stapleton, and 10th is J Figadarello. 11th place is under contest. Daniel Voyles has it. J Shelly wants it. 13th place, Matthew Logan. 14th rather is N Ormond. 15th, D Poteet. Kyle Thomas in 16th. Z Winkle, the pole sitter, is faded back to 17th. He actually just ran his fastest lap of the race last time by. 18th, Charles Jackson. 19th is Diego Yepez. Actually, your top 20 is Quentin Moore. 21st, Eli Bright. 22nd, Kyle Langeland. 23rd, last week's winner, Trent Dunham. 24th is Jacob Thibodeaux. Jonathan Zoerlein runs 25th. Chase Marks 26th. 27th is Ryan Madden. 28th rather, S Ozkan. 29th is Anthony McCrury, and 30th is Anthony Lopez. Manuel Hartnett's back in 31st. 2nd rather is J Ciculli. 33rd place is Kyle Keith. 34th is Patrick Zych. Andrew Miller back in 35th. 36th, David Garcia. 37th is Ashland Boyd. And Ashland Boyd is the last car on the lead lap as the leaders just caught back up to the 22 of Phil Parker. 3 wide trying to get by-in with Dearborn and Xavier. And now Corey Williams going to look for 2nd place on Sky Commons. We have 3 drivers that are off the lead lap. 1 lap down, Skylar Perry. 2 laps down now, Phil Parker. And Nicholas Romero is 4 laps down. All 40 cars, however, are still running. Battle is on for the lead. Corey Williams trying to get a run down the back straightaway, trying to get the inside of K Shearer here into turns 3 and 4. He's to the left rear. Can he get back to the throttle and get alongside on the straightaway? Yes, he can. And remember, Corey Williams was one of the last drivers up in the lead to pit, so his tires will last a little bit longer than Kev's would. I think that's what we're seeing right there, so Corey Williams to the lead. Corey coming into this one currently in the 37th position in points. So obviously he would really need to be consistent the next 2 weeks, depending on how many spots a win would gain him. Same could be said for K Shearer. If you look at all the drivers up here, the 6 drivers in this lead group, you got Corey Williams leading. He's 37th in points. K Shearer is 36th in points. Justin Dearborn is 24th in the standings. Arthur Xavier's 39th in points. We already mentioned about Sky Commons. He is 15th in the standings. And S Gallighan is 13th. So who wants it more? I thought maybe these guys would get slowed up a bit. That would allow J McCloud to reel them in. He's currently in that 7th spot, and he might actually latch on to their draft. And I think he's got enough time, too. There's still 7.5 laps remaining. 7 when they hit the line. K Shearer really faded back, so while those fresh tires coming to pit road as early as he did helped him in the early portion of this run, now the tires are starting to go away, and he's drifted back into the 5th position. Sky Commons, who led a good portion of the race before the pit stops began, now back there in 6th. We got some new players up here at the front with Williams, Dearborn, and R Xavier. All drivers that are outside the top 20 in the point stands and are all looking for their first win on the year. Keep hearing some idling engines up ahead, which means that slower traffic could come into play. That is the 6 of Ashland Boyd. Just now going through turn 2 as the leaders are in turn 1. I think they are probably going to catch him before this race is over, but we got a battle for the lead on. Here comes Justin Dearborn for the top position. Could not quite get there and now gets it back down to the bottom as Corey slipped up there in turn 3. Gets the run off the corner though and will clear for the top spot. Now that allows R Xavier to capitalize on the momentum lost by the 98. He'll go to the inside for 2nd. And this time he keeps his foot in the throttle down on the bottom in turns 1 and 2. J McCloud has caught up. He just took 6th place away from Sky Commons. Watch out for that 23. He could have something for these guys. 4 laps to go as Corey Williams hits the line. Where will they catch the 6 of Ashland Boyd? Will Boyd be willing to get out of the way of the race leaders? Looks like they're going to catch him probably out of turn 2 and onto the back straightaway. So hopefully the 6 will move high, allow the leaders the inside line going into 3. Uh-oh. This does not look good. You're going to catch him right in the center of the corner. Where do they go? Corey looks to maybe go high. He'll now duck it low. Justin Dearborn trying to stick his nose in there 3 wide. Corey throws the block. 3 laps to go here at Charlotte. Next car they would catch would be Nicholas Romero in the 20, who I do believe is up to speed. So I don't think they will catch him. What Corey wants to see in his rearview mirror is just what's happening right there. A side-by-side battle for 2nd place. That's going to allow him to gap the field a little bit. That will slow up the momentum of these drivers as well in trying to get a run on him. 2 laps to go at Charlotte Motor Speedway. J McCloud now trying to crack the top 5. He's to the inside of K Shearer. He might have one of the fastest cars right now, at least at this point. As Corey Williams continues to pull away, they are still side by side for 2nd. Someone's got to win this battle if they're going to try and run down that 51. They're losing time. Dearborn tries to swing around the outside to clear. Can't do it. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go. Corey Williams with about 0.4 of a second back to 2nd place. That equals about 3.5 car lengths. They're still side by side for 2nd. They're basically saying, here you go, take the win, 51. And Corey Williams says, thank you kindly, I think I will. Through 3 and 4, they're finally a clear for 2nd. Dearborn, but not enough time to get up to Corey Williams. Corey Williams is going to take the checkered flag. He wins here today at Charlotte Motor Speedway. "37th in the points coming into this one. What does this win translate into for Corey Williams heading into next week? Can he, with this victory in 2 weeks, get himself up into the top 20 in the standings? To have that victory count towards a playoff spot, only time will tell. But Corey Williams, you go all the way back to him being one of the last drivers to come to pit road. I think that translated to his tires lasting the longest. He was able to work his way by K Shearer for the race lead. And then that constant battling there in the final 2 laps for 2nd place between Dearborn and Xavier was what helped Corey Williams to maintain his advantage and pick up the victory. Great battle there between Dearborn and Xavier, though. They will both finish in 2nd and 3rd. But you think of what could have been had they settled out that battle sooner. One of those two might have gone to victory lane. Sean Gallighan brings it home with a top 5 and 4th. McCloud, the good finishes for that 23 car continue. He finished it in 5th. K Shearer brings it home in 6th. Sky Commons in 7th. The two drivers there that were really battling for the most part before the pit stops began find themselves finishing outside the top 5. N Stapleton, a great run there in 8th. J Figadarello and J Dawson, remember those two also were on the same strategy as K Shearer. They were able to pick up a number of spots to finish in the top 10. N Ormond, good run for the one car as he'll finish in 11th. He was slapping the wall off turn 4 multiple times. And I think turn 2 wall he knocked down a couple of times as well early on. So they got that car to where it needed to be. He'll finish 11th with D Poteet. Another great run for him in 12th. Matthew Logan was 13th. The pole sitter Z Winkle finished 14th. And 15th was Charles Jackson. The rest of your top 20 included Daniel Voyles, Kyle Thomas, Quentin Moore, J Shelly, and Trent Dunham. Well, Kyle Thomas will finish in the 17th position, but a number of drivers that were behind him in the standings also struggled here today, including Diego Yepez, who finished in 21st. He was 3rd in the standings coming to this one, and Ashland Boyd finished 1 lap down in 37th. So I think Kyle Thomas will keep the overall points lead heading into next week. The big driver that really this race killed was Phil Parker. Came into this one 25th in points, needed to get back in the top 20 in points, got involved in a wreck, finds himself finishing 39th here today. That will free fall him even further in points and give him quite a task in the next 2 races of the regular season. But that's going to do it here today. From Charlotte Motor Speedway, Corey Williams becomes the 7th different driver this season. Does this win translate into a playoff spot? We're going to have to wait and see where he's situated in points after this. My assumption is I don't think he's into the top 20 in points with this victory. I think he's going to need good finishes in the upcoming 2 weeks in order to get into the top 20. And again, haven't calculated the points yet, so I do not know that for certain. But that's going to do it here from Charlotte. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We've shown you Xfinity results, and these are what your point standings look like heading into next week. Again, same situation as last week. No idea where we're going to, but you will find out at the same time that we do. I do know where we're going to be going in 2 weeks. We are going to be going to Thornton for the regular season finale, so you're going to want to tune in to that one. Also, don't forget to tune in tomorrow to the Duracell Cup Series race. We'll see you guys then in 2 days for the 9th race of the season here for the NNSCRA Pedrigree Xfinity Series. Until then, you've been watching a production of NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best. I will see you guys next time.